you are today?
Yeah. Well, I was one of those people who did have to shirk the religion of my childhood in order to be free enough to think for myself and understand that I did not need, when I was growing up, it was a male intermediary to reach a divine patriarchal God.
Yes.
And so for me, the first step and the essential, crucial step was to realize that that wasn't speaking to me at a soul level and that I needed to search for something else. And so it was the discomfort of not fitting
Mm.
and believing that provoked me on the journey of searching for what did make sense for me.
So it's so interesting, like when you think about it, it was the discomfort. And again, I can so resonate with that. Similar, I grew up and was raised Catholic, but it sounds like it was the discomfort of realizing this doesn't feel like my truth. This doesn't feel
Right.
like truth. And it was that discomfort and like, what the, that like ultimately helped guide you back home. Does that sound right?
And the really funny thing is that I have a master's of theological studies. I went to divinity school to become a minister.
Really?
Yeah. And so it was in divinity
That's
school,
fascinating.
in divinity schools where I left my childhood religion of Christianity and created, I mean, it's a luxury to spend a couple of years creating your spiritual identity and being able to try on different things and learn about different traditions and figure out what my own personal beliefs were outside of my culture and society's predetermined beliefs.
That is so interesting. I'm not sure. I feel like you've maybe shared a piece of that with me before, Terri, but I don't think I really understood the breadth of that. So you actually you don't see or hear of that a lot, meaning I feel like a lot of us we might at some point break away from the religion that we were raised in and you just kind of go wandering about. I don't know, right? Like it's like, I don't know, really, I'm gonna throw something together or however you find that. But I didn't realize. So you actually had like a formal education in getting to explore different
Yes.
types of religion, different like how other cultures look at spirituality. That is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that became, it was kind of an expensive exploration, but an exploration nevertheless. Yeah, and so I was able to say, I don't believe in this. And not just I don't believe because I'm reacting to oppression or
Yeah.
not that there's anything wrong with that, but fundamentally I've explored it, I understand it, I've studied it, and I reject it.
That is like I said, I just think that is a very interesting, unique path
Yeah.
that you have been able to walk to find because yeah, I don't think, it's not like I've really spent that much time sitting in other religions. I think I just had to find my own, right? Like you kind of
Yeah.
find your own inner compass back. I think that's something that we could be doing more, as a society and a culture is getting more curious about other, viewing religion and spirituality through other lenses. I just think
Yeah.
because I think we have a lot of like us versus them, right? Like I might look like, oh, okay, what are they doing, right? If they're practicing religion in a different way, but it's really just a different lens. So I really appreciate that you had that experience. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I still love to learn about other people's belief systems. And in my experience, whether you're religious or spiritual or not, there's something that you believe about your life, about the universe, about the relationship of people and nature to each other. And so it might not be something you call spirituality or religion, but everybody has some kind of fundamental beliefs about who they are in relation to others in the world.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And I really appreciate that you point that out because I think many people you might just be in that point where again, you're just working through life, and you're just trying to get by to the next day or you're just trying to focus on like, you're in a transition. How am I going to become a business owner? How am I going to be a mom? And yet at the same time, these elements are still popping up in our lives. I still think it's a fascinating conversation to have around just our spiritual essence.
Yeah, and I think that so often, just as we've been people pleasing in relationships, we've been people pleasing in our spiritual journey. And so, how do we use the transition or whatever pivotal point you have as a catalyst to ask some deep questions and explore what else, because just because you're asking what else doesn't mean you're denigrating or putting your core beliefs aside.
Yeah.
What else is a matter of using curiosity to explore the world.
Yes. And I almost feel like, when you are going through some type of pivot transition in any phase of life, it is a unique time where we tend to like step out of our life a sec. It's almost like you're watching a tape. It's because you're going through this big transition. And we can get stuck in like questions of like, why me, or why now, or who am I to do this, or those types of things. But it also can give us curiosity of like, right? Like you said, it can be an invitation to go inward. It can be an invitation to look at things from a more spiritual level of like, what lessons am I learning here? What might my soul be trying to, I just think like there's a ton of invitation there. And especially if you're working with a coach, a healer, someone who can help guide you on that journey, how valuable that can be.
Yeah.